Welcome back to the old two-stroker YouTube channel. My name's Wayne. Well, we haven't named this thing yet, but your responses were freaking awesome to the video, last week's video, where we bought this truck back and got it home. And like I told you in the video, there's some things that it needs, so we're gonna start addressing them today. We got a coolant leak there under the cab. We got some major oil leaks we gotta fix, just pouring out of this thing. So we gotta get that figured out. So let's get to the video, so we got a lot to cover. And hopefully you'll enjoy this one. I can't wait to get this thing fixed right up. So we have harvested water neck. We're gonna try it anyway to see if we can get it stop leaking coolant. This one is destroyed, and I'm pretty sure that's where the coolant leak's coming from. So we're gonna pop that off of there, hopefully, and jam this one on there. I guess first step is gonna be, that's a very inconvenient location for this. Got a couple turns on all of them, except that back one. I can't really get to that one. We'll get a wrench, and we're gonna give them a spritz anyway. What if I told you they were all stripped? What would you say to that? You'd say, told you not to touch it. Which I guarantee is why we tried to solder the water neck instead of fixing it. Unless, no way. No way. Somebody put a nut on it, dude. There's nuts on every one. Which, it's stupid, yeah, but it's kind of mint. For me, it's better than a stripped radiator. I guess what I'm gonna have to do is make some kind of wrench. How am I gonna do that? Man, I need some like 7/16 wrench so we can come out, cut, and weld. I ain't taking that top tank off. I'll be back when I manufacture this into something we can use. Alright, boys and girls, you are gonna love this. Look at this. So I opted to use a socket instead of a wrench because this will capture that nut. The nut should fall inside of it, and that way I don't lose it down in the radiator. Have to fish it around. We can only pray that these idiots didn't put a washer on that side. I don't know, we're gonna try it. Might be alright. Sick. This makes me feel much better about being me. I was pretty sure this was gonna be a nightmare. Now I might be able to even do this. And I guess now it doesn't really matter if they break. So long as a piece falls in my wrench, we're good. This is not fun on your hands. It's gotta be free. Question is, will it come out of here without dumping in the radiator? Oh yeah. Here she is. First time I've seen that. So that means we're gonna have to thread sealant these bolts because they're not supposed to be, they're supposed to be blind. All right, I'm gonna do this 5 more times. Well, 4 more times, so I don't have to rage quit. Ah, great success. Blue RTV. You know what that means? The sign of a great mechanic.
You sure?
I'll get her all cleaned up, bring you back. All right, fellas, well, it's time to do some sketchy. My new water neck doesn't have overflow outlet, so what I've done is I cut a piece off of this here thing, the bandsaw, we fluxed it. We're gonna try to solder it. I turned the camera on because anytime I turn the camera on, we'll get it on camera this time. I don't have high hopes for this, but you don't know until you try. This thing is a lot of torch for what we're doing, but it's what I got. How could it possibly not be hot enough? Trouble is, it ain't sticking to, just isn't sticking to the outlet. I can get away with just about anything until I turn the camera on. Now it's stuck. For real? Then it's not gonna seal. I feel like there's no way that that is actually in there. Jesus Christ, it seems like it is. Do I touch it? How hot is that? It's pretty hot. Frig. I can't tell if it's just the base there that's hot as this fucking, that thing is hot. Jeez, that side looks pretty good. I don't think this side was clean enough, so I'm gonna try to scrape that, clean it up, and I'll bring it back. Well, it looks better. I don't know. I ought to be able to get something on it. Hose anyway. I don't know about a clamp. Maybe it'd be nice if I could get it to pivot just a touch, but I'm afraid to heat it back up again though. It might actually work though. I don't know what's going on there anyways. It's actually pretty level. It's not all that crooked. So I don't have any like specific like hole putter inner things. So I just use transfer punch and a socket that's like the exact right size. And then you kind of eagle eye it. Put them in here. Bro, I had this like 20 seconds ago. This was going wonderfully. Turn the camera on. Everything goes. Makes a decent hole. Don't worry about this gasket paper. Okay? Oh, yeah. And I use a transfer punch. It's just a little bit bigger than. It's like a neat quarter. I think this is a 9/32. That'll work. Alright, now we gotta do that center. Probably gonna use 2 sockets for that, I think. In my brain, anyway. Jesus, those things are in there. Deal with that later. We gotta cut a big hole out of this. How are we gonna do that? What size hole do I need? That's the real question. Could we measure? Yeah, we could. We could do a lot of things we're not gonna do. I think that'll work, so now we just need something this fits in. Oh, so close. Ooh, I think that might be a winner right there, boys. We're gonna try it, and then we can trim it with a razor blade if we gotta. I don't know if this is gonna work. I've never done a hole this big before. What do you think the chances are of me actually getting this in the center? Boy, that's gonna be tricky. How are we gonna do that? Eagle eye don't lie. No guts, no glory. Not terrible. I mean, could have been smoother cut, but we are using sockets, so. Good enough for who it's for. We were only, what, 1/4 inch off center? That's fine. It's fine. You know what we'll do is, I can just go around it quick with the blade and make a better cut. I'll do that. You don't need to watch that. All right, fellas. Let's see what we get here. What I'm gonna do is add some juice, a little bit more than a little. I ain't scared of it. Then we're gonna apply our gasket, and then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. What a treat that is. Now, this thing, gotta go on there like that. And then put a bunch of that up on here too. And I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but I cleaned it as good as I could with a razor blade. That's just corroded, man. Try to get some of that in there, and I'm hoping it'll seal the nuts as we put them on, or the bolts. I'm not usually the RTV guy. Try to use as little as possible, but situations like this, you ain't got a lot of choice. Oh, let me wipe my finger on this leaf. Oh, yeah, no charge. This is where shit's gonna get real wild. The only thing I can do is try to start 2 of them opposite each other, kinda. So then here's my thought. We're gonna take this thing, jam one of these in there, which how do you know if you got it? I don't know. This is not the easiest thing I've ever done. The trouble is our TV's setting up as we're around here. Sketchy. I'm afraid the nut is too deep down in this. Boy, this is gonna be sketch. I'll try it. Got that one, I think. Yes, we got one. Let's get the other one. And then we can like put the other bolts in and cinch them down at least, so then we're not racing against the clock here. Hard to tell if I got that one. I think I do. That one might be one with the thing. Let's get the other bolts in there, and then we can tighten those 2 down. I'm gonna try this back one. This is gonna be the worst one, I think. What was the worst one coming out? Probably gonna be the worst one going in. I think we got it. Nope. This is gonna sound stupid, but I don't remember which ones have nuts on them, which ones don't. That one does. That one does. That one does. So that one does not. It is struggling. Trouble is, I can't see what angle I gotta be at. We've gotta get some of these tight. I can't. Oh, the bolts are in. We gotta give her. We're in a time crunch here with this RTV. I can't risk losing my RTV and having to do the whole thing over again. I'm not gonna lie, this tool is the MVP. Alright, we gotta go get one more nut, because we're gonna have to double those to get them started. I really want to fire it up and make sure it's fixed. Can't tell if that bitch is started or not. I just want to make sure I wasn't... See, the danger with using this starting nut is I don't want to double nut one. That's not going to be any fun. Here we go. Oh yeah, now it's just clenched down nice. So now, it's just that top one. It'd probably be alright, but I came this far, so I'm not willing to quit. I'm gonna get a swivel for this guy. Yeah, try this. You know what would really suck if I did all this work and that fucking radiator nozzle leaked? That would be... I gotta make another fucking tool now? If I didn't know better, I'd say you were like trying to piss me off. I should have started with this top one. Seems alright. Okay. And that, my friends, is how you fix a water neck without pulling a radiator top tank. That's how you could fix it if our repair is gonna hold. To be determined. Let's fire this thing up and see what kind of mess it makes. I actually haven't started this thing in a while, so curious to see how she does. Oh, I left the batteries on. Well, I guess we're gonna see if it's got a draw. What do you think the chances are this thing's gonna go? There she is. Got her oil pressure. Boys, I am freaking pumped. God, I missed that grab handle. Pretty excited about that. I thought for sure we were in trouble. Let's... Hate to cold rev it, but... There she is. Alternator came alive, baby. Now it's charging. Jeez, look at it. It's freaking dead clean already. Let's go run a truck. Sick. I'm gonna let that warm up a little bit. I'm pumped to see what that does. Pine needles everywhere, dude. Let that warm up a little bit, and then we'll take it around the block and see how she does. All right, kids. I beat her up and down the driveway like 6 times. Here's what we got. It is leaking. It's weeping out of that bolt hole right there. Means to me that RTV didn't seal on that bolt hole, but that looks to be the only one. Everything else is completely dry. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm freaking pumped about that. It's just saying. I'm gonna shut it off and we'll re-RTV that one bolt, and hopefully that'll do her. All right, well, we got that RTV setting up, and if you guys remember, then our next big leak with this thing is in valve covers. So shout out to everybody's favorite degenerate. James Bacon sent me this pair of covers he had off the motor. So these originally came off of his fire truck engine that is in the red truck, the Boogeyman. So he polished a nicer set and put them on that engine. So this set, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna spend some time wire brushing them, getting them all cleaned up, which I'm not gonna film any of that. And then we're gonna parts washer them, and then we're gonna paint them the Lord's color. Do the same for the breathers and stuff. And then we should be pretty good to go. Huge shout out to James. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Let's get to it. Let me just tell you, those were some of the most corroded, worst valve covers I've ever had to clean up. Holy hell. This was out of a fire truck, and it was an East Coast truck, so I'm pretty sure it's just been in the salt. And fire truck's like a van, dude. It don't ever get washed under the doghouse. So they're all ready for paint. Hopefully, God willing, we're gonna find out. The Lord's color. All right, fellas, next day. These come out very nice. Very. Nice. I did not think they were going to clean up this good. So, thank you, James. Greatly appreciated. Did the bolts too. We are fully ready to put these on. So let's go do that. We got to see if we can get this cab jacked up. Here's what I got. I haven't tested it yet. We're going to see. So I think I've got this buttoned up. We're going to test it here in a minute, but I'm going to change the valve covers first because I can't deal with this oil leak. I took this bolt back out, re-RTV'd it. You can see there's a bunch of RTV. I actually put it on the threads this time and on the nut, and then I added a bleed hose, goes all the way down past the bumper. So she's good there, I think. I think this is buttoned up. Next, we're gonna see what he's talking about, this cab jack. This one is busted or something. I'm not sure what we got here, but there's like some goofy bolt wedged in this one. Oh, I think you gotta flip that latch and then pull the bolt out. I think that's what he was saying. This is very bizarre, so I'm not real sure. Oh yeah. Huh. Seems questionable. John Henry just invented some things for this truck driving. That's supposed to be the deal there. Alright, fellas, so just looking this thing over, there's a couple things I'm noticing immediately that's super no bueno. Other than that oil leak, this thing is just laying on the exhaust, and it is like, we are seconds from disaster right there. I can't believe that's not leaking, but we're gonna zip tie it to the big radiator hose there to keep it up out of the way. That's wild to me that, geez, the front of the thing is very dry. Impressive little amounts of dry up here, actually. Other than that, it's bleeding a little, but I'm pretty sure I never ran the rack on this thing or anything, so I think what we're gonna do is give it a little tune up while we're in here. Oh, wow, look at that. I don't think my other one has that. I gotta call Scott and see if he replaced these or if these are like what was here. Look at the frickin' oil, dude. That's all from that leak, I guarantee it. So it's gonna take 6 months to clean that all off of there. Oh, and we got some, looks like some turbocharger grease. Take this out of there so I don't die. Go up and in. Maybe that didn't get a gasket or something. That's like wet, but it ain't terrible. Somebody put an oil line on it. Used a completely overkill hydraulic hose, but the important part is it has a new turbo, so that's good. That's a pretty fancy little bracket right there. Never seen nothing like that before. Kind of right in the way of the Jake buffer switch. Oh god, it's got a gear drive alternator. That's what that rattle is when it's running. You know what, it probably has to because of the twin intakes. Also, that's like really close to that exhaust. Boy, I bet that's a bitch to like arrange. That's factory tube though. I don't know about this, boys. We might have to, we're gonna have to pull the up pipe, and then, is that a connector? Or is that just shmoo? I think it's shmoo. Oh yeah, no charge. I think it's electrical tape covered in shmoo is what it is. Delicious. Freaking green 92, boys. They said it couldn't be done. Look how close that shifter was. Boy, that's a sketch. I don't know what that bolt, oh, I wonder if that bolt just prevents this from, I'm fucking bewildered by what that bolt is supposed to be doing. Maybe it goes in this side of it and prevents, no, because it was like this. That's got to prevent this, the latch from moving. Has to. It's got to be the point of it. Whatever, the bolt's probably going to be just fine. We're just going to leave it alone. God, the cab is in great shape on this. Not busted up at all. Been a while, boys. I ain't seen this truck in a long time. Very excited about it, actually, knowing what I know now. Okay, so here's the deal. He's got this tack on it that doesn't work, and this is a tack drive right here, so we could just get a cable made, replace that electronic one he's got in there with a cable drive, and, well, so I assume the tack is wrong. Oh yeah, we gotta do that too. That is unacceptable, dude. Let's just see undercoating. Okay, what do we got going on over here? This side, substantially drier, except for valve covers. We might just be able to clean this thing up. That looks like Horton air clutch. It is. Which is probably, yeah, that's this. Okay. So that's what all that shit is. Which somebody would have added, I believe. Exhaust is juicy over there. I'm really hoping this isn't going to be in the way of my, that's got to be some kind of adapter somebody made, because the 12 wouldn't have had that. I wonder if this can be flipped around so it ain't rubbing on the doghouse. Or the mount or whatever it's rubbing on. Probably that right there. Yeah, it's all fucking valve cover, dude. Just running right out of her. Let me go look at my valve covers and see if I got... I just don't know if that's gonna go in there, alright. Alright, boys, we gotta start making some progress here. To say I'm a little annoyed with whoever rotated these pointing down. What planet are you on that's a good spot for that? Well, there's 2 of them. So somebody just wasn't giving a... I'm gonna say, how did you tighten it? Did you use a wrench? Can't deal with that. Alright, there's that one. We gotta get to those. Boys, those are in a stupid spot too. This cab's gonna be up a while, I think. Oh, did a nice job painting that. I got a hunch we're gonna have to rotate this. So, oh, is that splitting? It's awfully wet up here. Now we're talking. I think that just needs to be up a little bit more like that. We gotta loosen it to be able to get this valve cover. Some old covers, dude. Look at the governor, boys. It's dated 76. I gotta run the serial number on the engine and see if it's actually a 76. That'd be pretty wild. Look at that, huh? I never really messed with one of these spacers. What does it just lift off of here? Oh yeah, greasy. I mean, it's cool. It's better than nothing. But look at the fucking oil. Yeah, so we're gonna clean all that up. Wow, that's old. And how bad do you think the rack is? I bet that one's loose. It's not the worst I've ever seen. I think we can fix it. I'm also curious. I think this has this is a TT. I bet you this is only a 1700 RPM engine, 1800. It probably goes 1850 and then loaded is 17. So that's why maybe the tach isn't off. So we're gonna look at that. Boy, those fuel lines are struggling. So that's a cold start. I thought so. It started like it had a cold start valve. And then that's where that is. So I wonder if that works. It'd be pretty cool if it did. Let's clean this up. All right, I got my lip all cleaned up. We're gonna do a test fit here. I think my problem is gonna be, boy, that's really tight. It's gonna have to rotate way more than it is. I'm gonna have to hit that with a hammer to get it back a little bit, I'm pretty sure. I think I'm gonna have to take that right off, at least to get it together. I might get lucky after, but... Oh, there we go. Falls apart if you ask nicely. I just don't know that it's gonna go back on there. That's my concern. I was looking for they make a sloped one of these, I'm pretty sure. I think it's sloped the wrong way though. That ain't gonna work, I don't think. WTF. Oh, it's got the spacers in it still. You know, my stupid ass didn't even catch that. Because I need that valve cover to stay in place if we're gonna be able to actually test this. How did I not even see that? Just didn't even... No clicky, huh? Boy, that's right in there. What's this have for injectors? 9290s, gross. But at least it's not like a 380 horse or something. That should be 435. Boy, that one is friggin' tight. Dude, the new covers are such a better design. Wow. Boy, I hope I can make this work. If I have to, what I'll do is I'll cut this and weld a piece into it. I don't wanna. It's gonna be close, boys. I think it'll go, though. I think our angles are gonna change over here. As long as the cab doesn't hit nothing, I don't really care. I think that'll work. We're just gonna have to pull this to get that off of there, which ain't really shit I can do about that now. I'm not even gonna open this up. What we'll do is we'll put a sticker on the crank and we'll see about what that will hold it wide open and see what it gets. At least this side will work. I ain't mad about that. Okay, next, we got this one loose. Back on their respective. Definitely oily. Not great. Might be able to just take this pipe and swing it up over there while we're working here. That one's an 11. I gotta get a ratchet for that. Oh yeah, right against it. No charge. The question though is, will it come out of there? That's trying. This is pretty inconvenient. Boy, what a mess. Alright, I think we're gonna have to loosen this first. I don't remember what I had to do last time I got this valve cover off of here. Somebody must have put these on here. One says Detroit diesel and the other one said GM diesel. I know GM did some janky shit, but but it wasn't that janky. That's not supposed to be loose. I'm surprised it ain't leaking. One. There we go. Nightmare. I just noticed both of these oil covers both of these valve covers have oil fills, which is great because I'm scavenging them for parts, but not so great when you're trying to keep the thing sealed up. It's got a throttle delay, boys. That's a problem. So I'm gonna have to either change it or get a small bolt for my valve cover. I think I can at least get this. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Now, this one. I don't know why somebody buried this either. There we go. Holy shit. I didn't think that was just gonna I'm kind of hoping we can rotate that thing, maybe that clamp, and get that exhaust up over there more. I don't know yet what we're gonna do. This has to go over here. All right, so now I could clean this. I gotta find one of those short bolts. I'm trying to think if I have could just pull this Jake head real quick. Get rid of the throttle delay entirely. Because you know what? That's why it don't have no low end. I was wondering why you can't take off in high gear with this thing. That's why. Because it won't add any fuel. Why am I cleaning that? It ain't adding any fuel until it sees. We're going to delete that. Believe it or not, fellas, the rack is decent, dude. It's fine. It needs one little adjustment on the other side. Pumped on that. The pins aren't blown out of it. All right. I think that's the best course of action. Just delete that thing. And then I can use my long bolts. Life is good. We'll delete this. We'll set that one rack, and then we're gonna button this back up. I think she'll be right as rain. It wasn't sealing hardly at all. Our new valve cover should give us way more clearance for this thing too. So I think what we're gonna have to do though, I think my breather's gonna be right in the way of this. God, that thing weighs 400 pounds, dude. I think we're gonna put this so it's like straight like that. And then we're gonna eagle eye this fucking angle here, and we're gonna recut this pipe so it'll come straight out. And then I'd really like it if it just came straight down. Even if I got to remake this, I don't give a it just come straight down. I mean, that shouldn't be too hard. And give it more clearance around this thing too. You can see where it's rubbing. Like I just don't like it, so we can fix that. Who knows? We'll see how it runs. If it sucks, it'll get a 12. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some wrenches and tools and we'll jam that off there. Delete. You can't just leave this open though, because it'll just leak oil. Stay. I was wondering if I was gonna be able to get that out of there. Man, if I could just get a little angle off of it. Ha! I think those are the old style too, so that changes your Jake clearance. This old style is like 60 some thou, and then the newer style rocker pedestal, which I'll show you here in a second, is like 50 thou. Today's one of those days where it pays to be a hoarder. Good news is it looks like this is on injector side, so we can check our exhaust clearance. Torque those down. I'll check it. I'll just check that and adjust it. I'll do that all off camera, and I'll bring you back when we go to set the cover. Alright, fellas, let's test fit this. The valves were out on that cylinder. They were tight, which, whatever, it's not here for that right now. But, oh, and the when I had it apart, this O-ring in the Jake housing was kind of crunchy, so I jammed one in it because I'm a hoarder. And I'm the Jake guy, and I've got a bunch of those. So let us see what we get here. Oh, man. That thing is going to be right in the way. Maybe not. We're going to have to pull it every time we want to take the cover, though. I'm sure of that. But everything's all buttoned up under there, so I don't have to... It's like we can put this one on and then move on. I got all fucking antlered up about this one because I fixed this one, and I forgot to delete the old one on that side. Life is hard when you're stupid, kids. Somebody has got that holding this motor together. Did that turn or did it turn? Yeah, we got her. Of course, this is on jam next to that fucking Jake. Get out of here. Nice shot. Let's try this again. I don't know what rack it was about with this one. threads on this up? What the f? Ain't cross-threaded. WTF. What the f? What the actual f today? Oh, has that bolt hole never had anything in it? I wonder if that's the deal. Because it was underneath the... maybe. We'll get a tap. Clean it out for f***'s sake, Spud. The dumbest shit. I'm starting to grow impatient with this process. I don't know if you guys know what happens when... now I'm gonna have to take that f***ing line off there and probably... let's see what we get here. I bet there's just 40 years of schmoo in it from not ever having anything run in it. Probably all coked up oil and whatever else. I didn't even think of that. I guess now I will. It seems like it. The bizarre part is, I mean, it's not like that was... it wasn't hard to tap, you know? Just rust. Rust is wild to me. I don't know how it would get rusty. You certainly would not expect that in a motor as dirty as this. Let's set these here. I just want to make sure this goes all in. So how these work is they bottom out on this bolt, so they don't actually get, it doesn't, nope. There we go. I wonder if it was like hydrolocking. What a bunch of gross shit. Alright, fellas, what do you think? Is this the last time? Any bets? I'm going with probably not. I can honestly say I've never experienced that before. That could have been from, maybe this head was machined at some point, you know, if the head's been replaced or something like that. And you bolt that rocker on there immediately and that's it. It would never, theoretically, if that rocker's down tight enough, which 100 foot-pounds ought to be tight enough, that's it. That is in there. So now, what do you think the chances are that that whole deal is gonna work? Click. This thing should be relatively straightforward, I would think. Yeah, that's the same as any other 92. That should just... yeah, that's a no-stress situation right there, boys. This thing is going to be the issue. I just don't know about this. Yeah, it might work, dude. Here's what we're going to do. This needs to go like this, so that you can actually tighten it. That's how that needs to work. And then take this out. It's got to go in that first, looks like. Oh, yeah. Jeez, I think that'll go. I can't believe that that works. Sick! You I ought to at least hold it for now. I think we'll put this one on first and tighten this one, and then do that one. Dude, this thing wants to fight today. I mean, it could have been worse, but just like dumb. Valve covers look better, though. Alright, well that's better. Honestly, I think it's still potentially could rub that there. I don't know, we'll see what happens when we put the cab down. Might have to do some maneuvering. One intricately designed intake track, I'll tell you that. Alright, we gotta go put the other side back together. Bolt down the cover. This was the side I was worried about. All I gotta do on the other side though is we gotta run the rack there, fix that one. I'm just gonna tighten up that one injector a touch. Alright, well, turns out this whole side was off on the rack, so we got that dialed. I guess we're gonna jam this valve cover on, and we'll see about that whole deal. So, super anxious to see what this looks like. I want to check. I got a sneaky suspicion that's hitting something it shouldn't be, and I want to make sure it ain't the rack. We've been there before. We got a problem. That's not going to no fuel. Is it hitting on the other side? I had a hunch. Boys, that would have ran away. Yeah, that's like jammed up. Maybe I can just slide that valve cover over there over. That would have definitely run away. That would have been like real bad too. These 92s don't have an emergency shutdown. I wonder why. I've never had that happen before on one of these. What the f? It's like the shutdown lever don't do anything. I mean, is that why it's way hard to shut off? But it shouldn't have been like that at all. I wonder if somebody's been in the governor. Alright, here's what I think is happening. I don't think it would have run away, but it definitely wouldn't have shut off. So, this shutdown, look at that, all that play in it before it does anything. So it ain't moving nothing. And I think that's because this stupid, I'll show you when we get this off here, this stupid shutdown lever is like booger hooked together. It's two pieces. They got like some bracket on it, which, why would you do that? Listen, we're gonna pull this right off of here. I don't think it's right. So here's what they got going on. Instead of having the correct thing in this, they just got this bracket. But this bracket, if it loosens up, can pivot on there. And I think that's what's half of what our problem is. So we're gonna delete that. And then the other half of the issue, I think, is, I think that might have swiveled or something. The other thing I'm thinking that could have happened is I put vice grips on that thing when I adjusted it, and I'm not sure. We're going to take the governor cover off here in a second. See, this ain't supposed to be like that. What they should have done, if they didn't have the pin for this, these usually aren't even threaded. I'm surprised this is threaded, if it actually even is. Seems like it is. What they should have done is use something like this with a hole in it, or just drilled a hole in that bolt and use that bolt as your cable for the cable to slide through. So the other thing I'm thinking is if that shutdown lever was out of adjustment, what could have happened is when I jammed this, because there was resistance there, when I jammed that to full throttle to adjust the rack, could have bent the pin on the other side where the shutdown is. We're gonna check that too. Well, I figured it out. Besides that thing slipping, I think somebody's got the buffer in way too far. So we're gonna back the buffer out a little bit. That's why you're not supposed to go more than 15 RPM with the buffer. I'm willing to bet the thing don't idle worth of, so I'm gonna pull this and turn the idle up. Also, the fun continues here. So I was talking about that bracket being cool. It's not cool at all. It's right in the way of that buffer. I couldn't adjust the buffer with this thing in the way because it hits it. So yeah, that's not going back on. Maybe what we'll do is bolt our cable right to here, and that'll be fine. Where's it gonna go? We'll test it, of course. Next, what I noticed, I was checking my rack, and now this side's way off, which, you know, it's possible. I only did the one, but I think I've discovered the issue. I knew it was too good to be true. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna gotta start all over now. So we're gonna start from scratch, setting this thing up. Also, the idle screw was backed like all the way out. I don't know if they were idling it off the buffer or what. All right, we're starting to go back together. I had the governor top cover off. I've got that figured out. The buffer was in way too far. I think they were trying to idle it with the buffer. What we're gonna do is set our throttle all the way back. I'm gonna finish bolting down the governor cover, which I had to clean because it was disgusting. It still needs the O-ring, but I don't have the right pliers to get that out of there. So we're gonna wait on that, because I'm sure we're gonna be back in there because we're gonna replace all these TT guts with real Detroit stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna rip that cover down, double check my rack settings, double check that I get no fuel, and then we're gonna fire it up. Stay tuned. All right, fellas, well, that's gonna do it for this one. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. We got our radiator leaks fixed up, and we got our new valve covers kinda on. We got a little bit more work to do. Next video, we're gonna finish our rack governor debacle, get this thing fired up, get a trailer behind it, and see how she does. So hopefully we can make some big strides and get that. But thank you very much for tuning into this one. I appreciate it. Huge shout out to the patrons. Y'all are the best. Pop on over to old2stroker.com. We got some freaking merch. These hoodies are nice and warm. Keep me warm out here. It's like 40 degrees, something like that. It's not fun in the winter, but if you got one of these old 2-stroker hoodies, you'll stay warm. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one.